Patrick Dunn is saying, in contrast, do you ever find yourself in one of your other lives, as though you just woken up from dreaming, and you remember being very invested in the identity of Aquila, and you have to take a minute to let Aquila fade away a bit, and then you remember you're actually ZX56 from Planet Jaffa Cake? Or is this reality definitely your base reality? Sorry if my comment sounds a bit jokey. It's a serious question, though. It is a serious question, a really good question. And for me, when I'm looking at this perspective, and again, I'm bringing it up, we're talking about the video I've made where, okay, do I go crazy remembering other lives and, like I'm living more than one life all at once? So when I, let's say, fall asleep, my consciousness can go and sort of connect to the other bodies I have, and I will pick up the memories of that body. Do I still remember Aquila, or do I let it go, and what's going on? Is this my core? Am I carrying Aquila's personality with me, or what happens? And I'll tell you this. I have a beingness that I am at my core that, let's say, I have curiosity. I'm interested. Maybe I have these things that oh, well, what can I do to make things better? I'm not an altruist or I'm a savior, nothing like that. But naturally, kind of wishing for something better, or trying to make things better. So if there's anything going on, I'll try to get involved one way or the other. There's also personality of a little bit of a fighter, competitor. I really like competitions and everything else. So it goes in a variety, but there are things that I have as my values and who holds me as a person. There are repetitive patterns of who I truly am when I look at different lives they have. And so most of my lives, they will have different aims, different stories, different scenarios of what's going on. And of course, my values there won't be all the same. I know my lifetimes where I connect to who I am and oh my God, I've just murdered thousands of people and I'm not feeling guilty. What the hell? I can definitely remember lives where I was mass murdering everyone else. There's a lot of things, and you just scan through the whole existence and the things you've done and experienced, and it's pretty much you've tried everything. Everything that you can imagine and think of has already been done. So in that regard, of course, there will be lives that will have a complete difference in who you are, but there's a stage or place where you just literally decide okay, from now on, I'm going to play it differently. And some of the themes will be repetitive, where as personality, you're trying to okay, I like teaching, I like being curious, I love learning. And all of the lives from there, not absolutely everything, okay, some of the lives from there will continue with this specific chosen characteristic traits and everything else. And so let's say when I tune into my other bodies, Aquila really isn't there. It's just who am I at my core. But what really happens is that for me, I have a little bit of advantage just because I'm not holding on to this life too much. Having other lives and having the ability to see who I truly am out there, or some of the aspects of me out there, I get the understanding and I have a little bit more of the freedom. So I try not to over-identify with Aquila. I'm not really stuck with this body. And a really good thing to do if you were okay, I really don't want to be over-identified with who I am in this life. And you can start role-playing. For me, the whole creation of Aquila and who I am today was literally from birth, a lot of things happened, but I ended up learning and doing one thing, which is sort of cherry picking the best parts of personalities all around me. So whether it's the real people around me that I like and appreciate them in my life, my great grandfather, he's always a role model for me, super kind, very nice, always listening, always there for others, and with a hardcore history. And it's with all the stuff that has happened to him, he stayed an angel. And for me, wow, I love him. I love him so much. But besides him, okay, you might watch some movies, play video games, so watch anime, listen to music and everything else. And there will be parts where you can sort of connect and appreciate the hero and their parts. And you're I wish I was like them. Or, you really like them, and maybe the hero does the things that you can never really express and be and all the stuff. And and my lovely dogs are now hearing people outside, so that's gonna be helpful. Always say, come on, good baby, good dog. So that being said, when you're watching, let's say, certain things, and for example, like right now, maybe Marvel, like Iron Man, Spider-Man, something else, maybe you just recently watched like movie or something where you can really like, damn, I really like this character, and you pick the trait that you really can sort of like, they're finally doing what I wish they would be doing. Like maybe you have this like vigilante, or even some of you like might have this like, damn, I wish I could be that hitman. I wish I could like assassinate the people that are really bad and messing this earth up. And like, you just sort of like resonate with them because that's who you are at core. Like you have your values, you have your thinking, and you just want to go at it. So because of that, for me, Aquila and who I really am was built out of watching all the people and beings and characters and like the best parts that I really appreciated. And of course, like there are things that I am at my core, but there are beings like I like that part. I want to be that. Like, and it's the story that you tell yourself. You live some period of time, and you are gonna experience a lot of things. They might be good and they might be bad, and they will shape your reality. Like everything that happens is going to be the story that's going on to you. And like, okay, are you a victim? Are you smart? Are you fast? Are you slow? How fast do you learn? And like a lot of things. And like there's things that you see about yourself. There are things that people will tell you about you. And then there's the surroundings and everything else. And so, your mom might have been telling you like, oh, well, you're lazy, you're not cleaning up, or you're the best boy, or like whatever. Like, you're going to hear the story and you're going to have your reality. And at any point in time, you can start changing it. So for me, I just chose like, my character, my story can be changed at any point in time. And it's not like anything else doesn't exist anymore, but I can change my beingness or try to be someone. And it's not like it happens overnight. It's like a muscle. I have to work at it. And so when I leave this body and I connect to other worlds, Aquila isn't there. I have the beingness that I am at my core. I can have the memories of the other life. But this whole thing about Earth, everything that has happened, it is like a dream. It does fade away. Like, let's say the whole experience and everything else, even like after death, or when you have an out-of-body experience, the case that you have, the thinking, issues, problems, worries, and everything else, your story about yourself is really gone. It's like everything that you have experienced on Earth isn't a thing anymore. You have memories, you have understanding, but it's not something that would haunt you like, oh, I forgot to take out the trash and I have to go because like, duh, like some of those things. And like maybe you're like afraid of heights. And you keep telling yourself, like, I'm afraid of heights, I'm afraid of heights, I'm afraid of spiders, and I have a road rage and everything else. And you have your beingness, and like, you live that. You have some like really, I don't know, like hardcore emotions and moments, and those have an impact. But when you leave, it's not your case anymore. It belonged to the physical body on Earth. So everything that Aquila has experienced here, this physical body, I will have memories of, but the case, the issues, the worries, concerns, and the story won't really get in the way. It's like when you get out, even after death, or once you get out of body, you have perception. There is no thinking. You perceive, you know. You don't have to go, oh, look, a star. And that's Andromeda's galaxy. Like, no, you just look at it and you know. You have the feeling states. You have like, oh, you can feel and hear and touch and smell and taste and everything else. And there's much more than that, like way more senses that you can think of. And it's like, it's amplified. What you feel on Earth, like you literally have to imagine the experience of being blind and going into, you lived your whole life as blind and now you can see. And if you have seen these heartwarming videos where people are colorblinded and all of a sudden they get glasses and all of a sudden they can see colors, or where they have been in a wheelchair and they can start walking again, like the change in the state, the story that they have lived like the whole life, and this radical change is literally what happens when you get out of body. The senses are extreme, but that's from my experience. Like for me, it's just like way, way better. So once you're out there, a lot of this case and thinking isn't there. What defines you as John and David and Lena and like Aquila and everything else, like it's not anymore. You have your beingness at the core. And even when you tune into your later lives, you won't be thinking about here. You're totally like, it's the same way as, I don't know, like tuning into like, I don't know, watching a movie or playing a game. And when you start watching a movie, let's say you're watching some of the Marvel movies, you might be watching Titanic, whatever is your favorite movie. You're not going to be thinking about some song or whatever. I mean, if it plays in the movie, cool. But you're not going to be connecting the two because you're fully engaged, unless the movie's pretty bad. But, like usually when you get out of body, it's the same way. Like you tune into your other lives and you're totally engaged in the current story. There is no time, not even like a single need to focus back on Earth for your life there. So the personality and beingness of Akvile and who you are on Earth isn't really there. Like you have knowledge, everything that you have experienced, everything that you know from here on Earth will be with you. But it's not like, oh, I have relationships and now I'm at this body and I have like really extreme, like, I can't do this, I can't kiss you because I have another lover over here, or like, oh, I don't have a driver's license on Earth, so I can't drive here even though I know how to, and we don't need driver's license here because it's like stupid and all this stuff. Like you don't have those conflicting stories. You have knowledge. Once you tune into your other body, which could be ZX56, like you're gonna be that. Everything that you have experienced with ZX56 or whatever your name is on this new planet, you're going to have the whole story of that. But as a consciousness, eventually you know it all. So I don't know if that makes sense. It's like, it's still an exploration, but I noticed that this whole connection to this physical body, for me, isn't that big. Like I'm literally getting help from certain people to stay in this physical body, to be more connected to it, because I'm very loose. I'm here and I'm gone. And I have this like great escapism that when something hard happens, I'm out. Like I'm not going to be confronting a lot of the problems, and like this habit of mine, like something bad happens, I'm going to walk away. Fine, I'm out. I'm going to go for a walk and all this stuff. But at the same time, like certain things, I'm not going to be here. Like it can happen, and I'm going to go out of body and just be out. Like this physical body will have certain part of my consciousness that can sort of like control this physical body, but I'm not fully here, which like I'm running away from a lot of problems, which on the physical level for me are dumb. But at the same time, like, hey, I need to work on confronting it. I need to like work over my own issues and my own case and everything else. But sometimes I'm just like so much better, like just get out. So like for me, it's a growth. I need to like learn a lot of things still. And like, which is why I'm having certain people like help me out on that one. But I don't know, like it's a double-edged sword, but I'm not too over-identified with this personality. And if people would be like, I don't want to be this anymore. This story, it really like aggravates me and I would just like to be someone else. Well, it's like practice being an actor for a few minutes. And what would it feel like if you were playing a different role? You have to stop being like Vita or Sam or, like Sabrina or anyone else, and just go with who you would like to be and become that. And it's the same thing. Like you just sort of consciousness shift, you just become different, but you start telling yourself a new story. So some of the things on Earth can be changed in that way, where like the story you've been telling yourself that's been sort of controlling your life in a negative way can be changed. Not an overnight. It's like not like you're gonna have radical change right away, but it's a muscle. But once you have this little practice here and there, it really helps with disconnecting from this. And if you like really want to, let's say, have safety and security in the afterlife, like some people are addicted to Earth or addicted to their personality, addicted to their problems. A lot of people can't get out of body because they're constantly focusing here on Earth. Like they really want to get out, but they can't because their focus is, I have to fix the car, I have to take out the trash, I have to pay taxes, I have to make some money, my wife's waiting for like something, and I have to like like a lot of like things to do. And little problems, little things, big things, your attention is here. And if you get like 30 minutes a day to work on getting out of body while the rest of the time is Earth, well, that's like an issue. So for me, like getting the time to role play, like I have these characters that I admire, I become someone else, I be that, like, oh, more confident. Forget this. Like, don't worry about how I present myself. I'm confident. Yeah. And like you just role play and then you can go back into your usual state. But like it's a work in progress. Same thing if you're playing video games or watching movies. Now your whole attention goes into a whole different character. You forget, like, it doesn't matter. The last character you've seen doesn't matter in the show because it's a whole different story. And if you practice that a little bit here and there, once your physical body drops dead or you get out, you're gonna disconnect fully. And having less connections, not like stop meeting people, stop doing things, but less things that will keep you here, like anchored and grounded and on a leash, so to speak, you'll have more freedom to get out because you won't be thinking about this place. You won't be focusing about things like over here. And you can just focus on what do you want to experience after you die? Where would you like to go now? So I hope sort of this answers the question. It's a great topic. It's big. It can be talking about way more, but just like a little quickie, a little glimpse into my world and my weird experiences. Like I'm still like experimenting, exploring, and still trying to find out what works and doesn't. But yeah, so thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.